Let's talk about something that is, just a little bit maddening. Why is it so incredibly hard to change someone's mind, even when you're armed with all the facts?
You know the feeling, right? You're in a heated discussion. You pull out that killer statistic, that one perfect piece of evidence, and you think, ha, got him. You're sure that a solid fact is the ultimate trump card.
Well, it turns out the human brain has other plans. See, our minds aren't always on a quest for the absolute truth. A lot of the time, they're just looking for what feels comfortable.
And this is where it gets really wild. Sometimes, when you hit someone with facts that go against what they believe, it doesn't just fail to persuade them, it actually makes them dig their heels in and believe their original idea even more.
This is the huge paradox we're digging into. Instead of our brains, updating with the new information, they often treat a contradictory fact like a threat. They reject it and then double down on the old belief.
Let's make this real. Imagine a parent who is absolutely convinced that vaccines cause autism. You show them a massive, peer-reviewed scientific study proving there is no link. So what happens? Instead of changing their mind, they become even more sure of their position. They find a new reason to dismiss the fact. They'll say, oh, that study was paid for by Big Pharma. So now, their incorrect belief isn't just still there, it's actually stronger than it was before.
So why? Why on earth do our brains do this? Well, it turns out that being wrong, or even just facing the possibility that we might be wrong, is psychologically, painful.
And that pain, it has a name: cognitive dissonance. It's that horrible, queasy feeling you get when you're trying to hold two conflicting ideas in your head at once, or when you do something that doesn't line up with what you say you believe. It's like a mental alarm bell going off, and our brains will do just about anything to make it stop.
So let's picture it. Meet John. John sees himself as a huge environmentalist. It's part of his identity. But then one day, he reads that his daily coffee habit contributes to serious water pollution. All of a sudden, his belief, I'm an environmentalist, is fighting with his action. I drink this coffee. That uncomfortable, squirmy feeling? Yep, that's cognitive dissonance.
So, what's John's brain going to do to get rid of that feeling? Well, it's got a few escape routes. He could change his behavior and stop drinking coffee, but let's be real, that's hard. It's way easier to change a thought. So he might justify it. Hey, everyone's allowed one vice, right? Or he could add a new thought to make himself feel better. Well, I drive an electric car, so that makes up for it. Or, and this is the big one for us, he can just ignore or deny the information completely. He decides, you know what, that coffee study must be wrong. And just like that, the discomfort is gone.
And that last option, just flat out denying the facts, is probably the most common way we escape that mental stress. It's what leads us to not just stick to our guns, but to build an even bigger, stronger fortress around our original ideas.
And now, we can finally put a name to that thing we talked about at the beginning. It's called the backfire effect. It happens directly because we're trying to escape cognitive dissonance. The more a fact challenges a belief we really care about, the harder we push back, and the more we double down on what we thought before.
And you see this happen in some pretty mind-blowing ways. Get this. In one study, a politician made 32 statements that were all fact-checked and proven to be false. Now, when their own supporters were shown the corrections, what do you think happened? Their trust didn't go down. No way. It actually went up by 12%. They didn't see it as helpful information. They saw it as an attack on their guy, which just made them rally even harder. That right there is the backfire effect in action.
And please don't think this is just about politics or controversial topics. It's a much bigger thing called belief perseverance. It's basically our brain's default setting. Cling to what you already believe, no matter what new evidence comes along.
Think about someone like Jane, a teacher who's been in the classroom for 30 years. She believes her methods for assigning homework are the best. Then she reads a new study that clearly shows her methods are actually ineffective. What does she do? She dismisses it. Her 30 years of personal experience feels way more real to her than some data in a study, and so her belief perseveres.
So far, we've mostly talked about how our brains react when they're challenged. But our brains are smarter than that. They're proactive. They have a built-in defense system designed to stop us from even feeling that cognitive dissonance in the first place.
And that defense system is called confirmation bias. You can think of it like a special filter on reality. Your brain automatically looks for, focuses on, and gives more weight to any piece of evidence that confirms what you already believe. And at the same time, it conveniently ignores or minimizes anything that might challenge you. It's like having a personal yes man in your head, constantly telling you you're right.
So let's just make the difference here super clear.
The backfire effect is an active reaction. It's what happens when a challenging fact gets past your defenses. Confirmation bias, on the other hand, is the ongoing process. It's the filter itself working 24/7 to make sure you mostly see things that you already agree with. One's your brain playing defense, the other is your brain playing offense to protect your beliefs.
Okay, I know. This all sounds kind of depressing, right? Like we're all just stuck in our own little information bubbles forever? Well, not exactly. The good news is that just by understanding how all this works, you can start to fight back.
So the real key here is that there are actual strategies we can use to make ourselves, and maybe even others, a little more open-minded. Let's just quickly go over 3 of the big ones.
First up, self-affirmation. Before you go into a debate, just take a second to think about your core values, things that make you you, like being a curious person or an honest person. This lowers your defenses and makes you less likely to see new information as a personal attack. Second, try to adopt a truth-seeking mindset. That means changing your goal. Don't go in trying to win the argument. Go in trying to understand where the other person is coming from. And third, try something called counter-explanation. This is a tough one, but it's so powerful. Force yourself to try and explain why the opposite belief might be true. Just trying to argue the other side's point can seriously loosen the grip your own belief has on you.
And really, this is the main takeaway. Overcoming these natural biases has nothing to do with how smart you are. In fact, some of the smartest people are the best at justifying their own bad ideas. It's not about intelligence, it's about self-awareness. It's about knowing this is how our brains work, and then making a conscious effort to think differently.
So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. What is one belief you have that's so central to who you are that if someone showed you undeniable proof that it was wrong, it would be the absolute hardest thing for you to let go of? Seriously, think about it. Just identifying that is the very first step.